Hello and welcome to Crosswords, the show where various authors rewrite each other's most famous novels. My name is Will and I'm a songwriter. Last month we talked about lyrical density, sideways rhymes, and how rap techniques can be applied to role-playing as a bard at the gaming table. The month before that we discussed the benefits of drawing inspiration from a variety of places. This month we're going to compare and contrast these two ideas and talk about preparation versus improvisation. If you've ever tried your hand at running the game before, and if you haven't, I highly recommend that you do. You know that while you can prepare as much as you like, you will always need to improvise at some point in the game, as your players will inevitably derail your plans. Role-playing a Scanlan-style bard can be thought of in much the same way. You can prepare as much as you like, but there will always be opportunities to seize a comedic moment or capitalize upon a new type of enemy, a new party inside joke, or a new NPC. You should always be prepared to throw away a well-rehearsed cover of Bon Jovi that vaguely makes sense in any context, for a half-cocked, slightly off-rhythm Foo Fighters song that fits your scenario perfectly. Preparation is easy in a way. You must dedicate some time to it, of course, but you can make up for a lack of experience with perseverance and stubbornness. I'm a songwriter, but the reason I call myself that is because I write a song every day. Mind you, most of the songs I write are garbage, but the practice that I get every day allows me to write songs better and faster when true inspiration strikes. Or if I really need to write a song about, say, two sphinxes on different sides of an imaginary world. Now, I don't expect you guys to write a song every day, but you could create a habit of listening to your favorite music with a notepad in hand, ready to write down a line or two of parody if you get inspired. You could write one stanza of bard inspiration every week. True grit can make up for a hell of a lot of God-given talent, and hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So how else can you prepare? Keep detailed notes during a game. When new cities, areas, or characters or enemies are introduced, write them down. You may need to go back to those notes when writing a song of inspiration. Note names, descriptions, locations, and creature types. Be specific, but remember that generalizing can work just as well. If you need to talk about the Vesper Timberlands, but you only have 3 syllables, the forest will probably be good enough. In addition, referring to an enemy or ally by their creature type is a good way to force a rhyme in a pinch. If a character's name is particularly hard to rhyme, even though I've proved to you last time that this shouldn't be a problem, you can simply refer to the halfling or the hobbit. Your party will understand with context. So preparation is simple, but how do you get that inspiration in the first place? Well, truthfully, I might not be able to teach this. The Greco-Roman idea of the muses is not all that far away from the truth in my opinion, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Creativity can be thought of as the power to draw connections between distinct ideas, combining another's words with the images found in your head, pairing a drum beat with a guitar riff, matching an archaic word for Thursday with the name of an ancient red dragon. How can you learn this? It seems like some humans can be more creative than others. How do we take that next step? Let's take a look at our philosophers. Hopefully they can help us shed these human limitations a little bit. Famous imaginary philosopher Guru Lahima says, "Let go your earthly tether, enter the void, empty, and become wind." Have you ever noticed that your best ideas often come in the shower or on a long drive? This is because you are effectively on autopilot. Your subconscious is behind the wheel, freeing up your mind to work on other tasks. This is something you can practice, too. Meditation is not just for hippies, says the dude with the Jesus hairdo. But seriously, meditation has proven psychological benefits as well as being helpful for creating inspiration. There are many different types of meditation, but they all center around getting rid of intrusive thoughts. These are those evil thoughts that invade the brain, reminding you of that time you tripped over your tongue in front of a pretty girl 6 years ago when you're just trying to order a bagel. Meditation is a technique that allows you to push these thoughts aside to make way for new ones. And like a muscle, it needs to be exercised. Like I said, there are many forms of meditation. Some involve white noise, some involve mantras, and some involve physical movements. But I'm a simple guy, and I subscribe to a simple technique. I don't know what it's called, but I'll tell you how I do it. I close my eyes and visualize an object. Something very simple and boring. I like to picture a whiteboard. Concentrate on this, and nothing else. Intrusive thoughts will appear in your head. Some will be benign. I wonder what's for lunch tomorrow. Some will be nice. Oh, that handsome fellow smiled at me walking down the street earlier today. Some will be evil. You're not as good as Mr. Rogers thinks you can be. Good, bad, or neutral, push these thoughts aside and refocus on your object. I like to picture these thoughts swiping to the left, like a girl with a one-sentence bio. Get rid of these thoughts until your mind is once again clear. You won't always succeed, but you will get better with practice. Many people think about meditation and they get caught up in the whole empty your mind bit. You can't just think about nothing. That's impossible. To those people, I say, you're missing the point. The point is not to clear your mind, but to practice techniques that make organizing your thoughts easier. My mind is rarely actually clear when meditating, but having the skill to push aside unnecessary thoughts is powerful. It's something we should all try to do more often. Will, dang it, stop being a hippie and tell me how to be a better bard. Well, imaginary person in my head, I can't teach you how to write songs. I can just give you as many tools as I can to help you practice and refine your own songwriting technique, as basic or as complex as it needs to be for you. If you meditate, not only will you feel better mentally, you'll be able to create more of those long drive shower moments where true inspiration can strike. And when it does, be sure you have your notepad handy. I use Evernote because I like having all of my notes searchable and in one place. But some folks may want to carry around little journals to jot down rhymes and ideas in. Both options are great. Tech heads, you'll find that your electronic notes are with you wherever you go and easy to back up. Backblaze. Old school journal folks, you're carrying on a long and wonderful tradition of writers, artists, and rappers with your little black book. Either way, write it down. You will not remember it later. Write it down now. Now! In my opinion, preparation will take you a lot further than improvisation. But brilliant, amazing moments can come from those wonderful bolts from the blue. At the core of improvisation is the phrase, yes and. This is a phrase that comes from the improv community, which basically means that you're supposed to accept whatever your partner throws at you in a scene. If I were doing a skit with my friend, and she asked me why my hair was green, the proper response is, because I'm Aquaman. Not, my hair is brown, you idiot, can't you see? In my first response, I've accepted her premise that my hair has suddenly turned green, and have come up with a reason why, even if it's dumb. I'm saying, yes, my hair is green, and also I have superpowers. This opens up the scene to go many different directions. On the other hand, if I shut her down and say, my hair is brown, you idiot, this shuts down the scene completely. There's nowhere she can go with that information. If everyone plays along, wonderful moments can appear out of nowhere, with an idea being tossed around the group, each one playing with it and adapting it as it gets into their hands, like a game of telephone, but with a purpose. You see this quite a bit on Critical Role. One thing I'd like to emphasize is that it is okay to look dumb when you do this. Your character doesn't have to be the perfect hero. If you watch Critical Role, Caleb's stinkiness is a great example. Liam described Caleb initially as dirty, and Laura took that to mean that he also stinks. A perfectly logical explanation, because Laura accepted Liam's statement that he's dirty as true. She added her own spin to it, and whether Liam liked it or not, he accepted it, because yes and. Treat your other players and your DMs in this manner, and I know that your RP will be wonderful. If you want to get better at that kind of improvisation, I recommend taking an improv class, or reading the book Truth in Comedy by Halpern, Close, and Johnson. In the same way, you should look for ways to yes and in your songs of inspiration. Take little character moments that your friends have at the table and draw them out to their silliest conclusion. If your party member has a flying broomstick, you might sing a song from Wicked. If your friend plays a drunken monk, you might sing the Green Dragon song from Lord of the Rings. If you're fighting a beholder, you might cover Tupac. All customized for your campaign, of course. And don't be afraid to poke fun at yourself. This is the safest form of humor, because you know that you can take it. There's absolutely no risk of hurting someone else's feelings. And remember, don't dish it out if you can't take it. And for your silly song of the month, I'll show you that it can be fun to make jokes at your own expense. No one knows what it's like to be the bard, man. It's really hard, man, to write bad lines. Now, you may have noticed that I've talked a lot about preparation. Even my inspiration half of this little talk was heavily weighted toward what you can do with prep time. Superman and Thor are great, but what makes Iron Man and Batman my favorites of the bunch is that they're just ordinary men using their grit and willpower, as well as magic technology and supernatural intellects to get the job done. Likewise, I can't teach you how to fly like Superman, but I can give you the blueprints to the arc reactor and say, go build this. This video is brought to you by my Patreon account, which is neat and in a link in the description, as well as the Nerdsmith Entertainment Group, an excuse to collaborate and talk about other nerdy content. This month's advertisement is for a show called Dungeon Maestro by Aiden Chan. Aiden has been a staple in the Critical Role community for a long time now, with orchestral themes for characters, events, and places in the CR universe. And now, he's bringing the music to your gaming table with his Nerdsmith series, Monster Melodies. No more will you have to sit through hours of slightly fitting music to pair with the horrors you have in store for your unsuspecting band of adventurers. The Dungeon Maestro's ever-growing collection of cinematic themes, tailor-made for each monster from the 5th edition Monster Manual, will have you cackling maniacally, whether you're behind the DM screen or looking for an epic musical ride. I'd like to honor his new series with a small submission to his archive. Aiden, for your listening pleasure, I present the orchestral theme for the Flumph.